I have a Coca-Cola can. And he connects the NOS tube, which he has in the car, with a Coca-Cola can, a little top, Chad, where you open up the Coca-Cola, connects that in there, and the cousin's like, the fuck are you doing? He's like, don't worry, the power of Coca-Cola will make sure that I win this race, and it will clear out your debt. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know, not only do I create content in my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch, where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
We're gonna need a bigger truck.
But now, my friends, we must move on to my scene breakdown, chat, for The Fate of the Furious. The thes have returned, as I've said before. But, chat, before we go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details of Fate of the Furious, I must ask you a very important question. How many of you have seen this film, chat? The Fly is returned! Ah! Oh, I got him good there. Oh, he did, chat. I got him good. I got him good, chat. Baby Groot Letty time. John Elfman, vroom, vroom. Recommending, nope. Austin in theaters. Who's boss? Bloodshot, Bloodsport. Is that John Claude Van Damme? Yeah, same thing. Because there's, yep. Cass Fing, nope. Mike, hey, what's up, my toasty friends? Good to see you, Mike. Hope you're doing well. Ty, no. Hamburger, maybe. Get a bug bomb. No, I don't want any chemicals. I'm just going to use my t-shirt. That's been the best bug bomb yet. The Fly and the Furious. Serious Buck. Yes. Serious Buck, yes. Judas never seen it, and again, only seen 2 of these movies, Tokyo Drift and Hobbs and Shaw. Interesting. Brando, haven't seen it. Bat Boy, I saw Fate. It wasn't great, so maybe me, yay! Marvel Buff Nerd watched it in theaters. Stranger Shoe is a cool little kitty cat. I like it, chat. I like it. Oh, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Yes, wearing my Deadpool shirt today. Very nice, very nice. Oh, okay, so we have some people who have seen it, some people who have not seen it, chat. I, like, at least half of you, have seen this movie before I rewatched this movie just today, chat. I only see this film one other time, chat, in theaters, and like a lot of people, I think at the time, was not a big fan of it, didn't hate it. This wasn't like the worst Fast and Furious movie I've seen, but it just felt lackluster, chat. It kind of started to feel, I think it's when the franchise, in a way, started to feel like a little tired, because Fury 7, like we talked about it yesterday, chat, and by the way, please do check out my VOD for my Fury 7, my scene by scene breakdown for that film, chat. That, in a lot of ways, I think acts as a really good natural ending and conclusion to the franchise. Wraps up, certainly, you know, even though under tragic circumstances, Chad, you know, the Brian O'Connor story. You have that wonderful goodbye montage. You know, I mean, it just felt right, Chad. The action was great. It was just such a fun time. It's like the franchise was just working in pretty much every regard, Chad. In terms of the action scenes, in terms of the camaraderie between all the actors. It just felt like a good, wonderful send-off. But hey, you know, that movie made $1.5 billion, so you know they're going to keep making more. But I don't know, with this one, it just felt like, okay, well, we got to go darker. Which, you know, in the Fast and Furious versions of going darker is not too dark, but like, okay, but we have to do it where now they have to fight each other. And the whole concept of Dom going against the family, I mean, that's maybe what was so tired about it, when the whole pitch, like the marketing for this movie, all the trailers shows, like Dom went rogue, he's fighting against the family at this point, but we all know eventually, Chad, there'll be an explanation as to why he's doing this and why he'll help the family at the end of the movie, like there's no question. And I think that whole thing just kind of felt really tired. And the other thing, too, is they started to include some characters that I just didn't think worked at all. They had no sense of camaraderie with the other actors, like no chemistry. Scott Eastwood, who, again, listen, hey, might be probably a nice guy in real life, but you know he's relying on that fucking name, that Eastwood name, to be able to get all these goddamn roles. I'm like, how is he able to get all these big fucking movies? It's very surprising to me. But he's kind of like the Brian O'Connor character, and where he's even riding most of the time in a blue racer. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. He ain't no Brian, Chad. He a punk buster. He a buster, baby. He's Lil Nobody, which I think was a great little nickname to come up with him. But, like, that didn't really work for me. And probably an unpopular opinion, Chad, but I don't really like Charlize Theron in this film. as Cypher, who is the master. Like, we always get like a new hacker in every movie. First it was Tej, then it was Ramsey, and she was fine. She's great. I thought she was really fun. She comes back in this movie, and she's still just a lustful object between Roman Pierce and Tej. But you have Charlize Theron, who's I've seen in so many movies. I think most of us are really big fans of her. She's a great actress, and I don't know. A lot of her stuff just didn't work for me. Probably because it's like, okay, I know that she's over exaggerated. This is an over exaggerated world. That's the way it is. But I just didn't dig her. I just like, okay, your whole evil plot is just to recruit this guy to steal like nuclear codes. Like, you need him, and just her whole performance, like she's always staring off. She has the biggest wide-eyed expression, chat, like the whole time. She doesn't blink, and she just looks dry. It's like, girl, just use some moisturizer, my lord. As I was saying before, chat, it's like if I were to walk up to her and like touch her hair, I think it would disintegrate in my hands. Like, girl, get some new shampoo or conditioner or something. You're so brittle looking. What the hell happened to you? Stop bleaching your hair. You're destroying your fucking scalp. I like her too, but she's just, I don't think she's kind of wasted. Was not really intimidating. I mean, she does some fucked up shit. Obviously, in the movie. That's supposed to make her intimidating. They really do one. I've talked about many times before. They do one character very dirty in this film, chat. The Elena Neves character who was introduced in Fast 5. It's like, she just brought her back just to murder her. It's like, all right, fair enough. But it's not a bad movie overall, Chad. Like, there are some fun action scenes. You know, you do have some of that dynamic between the team members, but there's just some new additions that don't work. And the whole idea of, like, Deckard Shaw joining the family, which, again, in this movie, actually, it feels like a proof of concept for Hobbs and Shaw than anything else. Because the scenes with Deckard Shaw and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Luke Hobbs are quite fun. It's like, like the whole prison fight, them going, back and forth with each other, insulting each other. This is like we're going to eventually get to Hobbs and Shaw. This is good, which I think is a much better film than Fate of the Furious, which I'll be reviewing tomorrow, chat. Like, that works. But yeah, so much about this movie. And the other thing, too, I think the biggest thing is that this is the longest movie in the franchise, and it feels long. You feel this fucking length. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of downtime. There's a lot of exposition. A lot of people just sitting around, and it's like, all right, I'm good. Let's move on. They should have cut some stuff in this movie, Chad, and they just didn't. Yeah, it just feels a little tired, honestly, especially after the highs of Furious 7. So I don't hate the movie, but it's nowhere near as good as the last 4 films in the franchise, Chad, I'd say. 7, 6, 5, and 4. I think, and Fast and Furious 4, and the Fast and the Furious. But it's not awful. It's not an awful film. Mordecai, I think it's amazing. I can't wait for Leon to come back Fast 10. We find out that he was missing because he went back in time cuts with the dinosaur. I hope so. Hey, Leon, that we haven't seen since the original, The Fast and the Furious. First game scene was dope. There's some great choreography, some great action choreography. There's no doubt about that. Charlize hair is in Charlize Theron's hair in F9 looks ridiculous. I haven't even seen what her hair looks like. I've seen the trailer like a dozen times, and I don't even remember. But I don't know what the hell, who her hair person is, who her hairdresser is. But Jesus Christ, girl, get yourself some help. Get some conditioner, okay? You look like the fucking Scarecrow with that hair. It looks like she has straw glued to her head, Chad. I usually don't make fun of a person's hair, but my God. Wash your hair. Look about the activities, Krista Charlize. Girl, you need to moisturize condition because you looking dry. She does. Am I wrong, Chad? Am I wrong? Does she not look like the Scarecrow from Batman, okay? She's a gender-bent Scarecrow, chat. She's Jane Crane instead of Dr. Jonathan Crane. So her assistant told her the dry dreadlocks. It's not working for her. And she's not pulling it off. Well, clearly she's not washing her hair because you can't wash your hair when you have dreadlocks. Oh, I feel it would be started with, but not expect Kurt Russell's revealed to have been playing everyone, and he's the final fit. That would be fucking, amazing. I will say, Kurt Russell, he's fun in the movie. I feel like he's just going through the motions for certain scenes. He's invited to the barbecue at the end with Scott Eastwood, I think is bullshit. But he's at the family barbecue, which I think that was pretty cool. Overall, Chad, it's just kind of like a... It's an okay action film. It's an okay action film, Chad. One that's too long and just feels a little trite, feels a little tired. Mordecai, I think with the 2 biddies, Chris. I resent that coming about here because I work 10 hours in the sun, but that's besides the point. I'm sorry, Mordecai. You look at Charlize Theron in this movie. All right, she looks like a Batman villain. Jane Crane, that's what she is. Oh Lord. Hey, it's cool in this, but he had more to do. He had more to do in the last one. If anything, he just seems to be like, all right, I got to help fucking Scott Eastwood act. Which, it's a hard, very fucking hard thing to do. That is a fucking Herculean task, chat. It's one of Hercules' fucking 13, 12 labors, whatever the hell it is. Kurt Russell does appreciate good barbecuing. He helped himself to that shit. But brief back on the film, chat. This is directed by F. Gary Gray, not directed by James Wan, not directed by Justin Lin. Justin Lin would eventually come back for F9, chat, which is coming out this week. Very interested to see it. It got kind of like mixed reviews, not like super negative, just relatively mixed reviews where people praise the action, the camaraderie between the actors. But like again, a common thing was like this entry just kind of felt unnecessary. It just started to feel a little tired. As was, quoted by so many goddamn publications, the franchise is running on fumes. It's like, all right, I get it. I'm not going to use that. I just did, but that's them saying. I'm telling what half of these fucking reviewers said, Chad, you ain't in fumes. Bullshit. But hey, still made a lot of money, Chad. Not nearly as much as Furious 7, which I think also part of the reason why the movie did so well is people were just curious to see how they were going to, what Paul Walker's character, Brian O'Connor, what were they going to do with him? Having him passed away, see like how that was going to work. I do think it's kind of morbid to think about, but I think that definitely created audience interest. The same way in regards to like maybe something like Heath Ledger's untimely passing with like The Dark Knight. People are like curious, how are you going to make this work? They want to see his last on-screen performance. So this movie did not do as well. It did well, but it did not do as well as Fury 7. Made a box office of $1.236 billion, Chad, on a budget estimated between $250 $270 million. Imagine that 20 extra million was for reshoots, of course. Or thus they have to go back in and maybe fix. But yeah, overall, Chad, it's a fine film. But now, my friends, let's go ahead and get to the nitty-gritty details, Chad, of the fate of the Furious, chat. And we start with Cuban booty, chat. We are in Cuba, Havana, Cuba, chat, where we are seeing copious amounts of Cuban booty butt, chat, with Spanish language music playing. I don't know what the fuck they're saying on the radio, chat. Speak American for me, please. But they did not do that, chat. But seeing all the Cuban booty was very nice. And it's like, okay, well, there you go. F. Gary Gray. I'm not saying like fuck Gary Gray. I'm just saying that's his name. His name is F. Gary Gray, Chad, director of Straight Outta Compton, all that jazz. So every time I say F. Gary Gray, I'm not telling him to go fuck himself. Not saying that. He didn't make that bad of a movie, believe me. But we cut, chat. We cut. We're in little Havana. We're in Cuba, chat, and we're following this muscle car. And who's inside this muscle car? Damn, we're with Dom, Chat, and Letty, and they're currently vacationing in Cuba, Chat. They own a property there. As in case you forgot, they are indeed fucking millionaires many times over, Chat. They own tens of millions of dollars, and they do own a seaside Cuban property, Chat. It's like, I love that these guys, again, they start out being thieves, drag racers, stealing DVD combination VHS players and Panasonic TVs, and now they're millionaires many, many, many times over. It's just nuts, but we're more about the family. Sure you are. But they're there, Chad. They're there. Plus, they lost their fucking house. In Fury 7, that house got fucking exploded. They did lose their property because of Deckard Shaw, Chad, who later on say, hey, Deckard, come to the barbecue. It's fine. No, we'll get to that in a bit. But they're driving, Chad. They're driving. And they stop right here. They're stopping at this little Havana because apparently one of Dom's cousins, he's gotten into trouble, Chat. He's gotten in debt to a Cuban gangster, Chat. And his cousin's like, Dom, I have to give him my car. Oh, he's gonna come after me. And he's like, well, you made the deal with him. You always gotta honor your deals, honor your promises. And he's like, okay. But the gangster's like, yeah, Buster. And Dom's like, whoa, don't call my cousin a Buster. He's like, Buster, you back off, okay? You're in Havana. This is my town. I got the best fucking race car here. It's the fastest and the fiercest. And Dom's like, it was maybe before I got here, but I got my car, and I challenge you to a race, Buster. Mordecai, thank you so much for the one biddy. And he's like, what are you talking about? What, that fucking car? It's all juiced up on that nos? No, I don't think so, Buster. He's like, fine, you know what? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what's under the hood. Yes, it does. What matters is the person driving the car. And his cousin's car, his little cousin's car, Chet, cousin we never met. I don't know how he's related to him, but okay, sure, whatever. Has like the shittiest looking Fallout 3 post-apocalyptic looking vehicle you've ever seen, Chad. Like, that thing is going to fall apart if you turn on. If you turn on, it's like a ticking time bomb. It's going to count down to 3, 2, 1, boom, and that's it. You're dead. Madame's like, don't worry about it. I have a Coca-Cola can. And he connects, Chad, he connects the NOS tube, which he has in the car, with a Coca-Cola can. A little top, Chad, where you open up the Coca-Cola. Connects that in there, and the cousin's like, the fuck are you doing? He's like, don't worry. The power of Coca-Cola will make sure that I win this race, and it will clear out your debt with this Cuban cartel member and gangster. And he's like, okay. And so he connects the little can part, chat, little thing, puts that in there, connects to the NOS, boom. And that's what's holding this fucking car together. Also, he starts stripping all the metal off because he needs to make sure that it is light as possible, because this thing looks fucking heavy, chat. It's like it was like made in the 1940s. So they strip that out. They all start at the starting line, chat. The starting line, fly! Got him! Yeah! They all start at the fly again. Oh, I got him there. They all start at the start line, chat. They're all at the start line at this point. And, you know, the one guy, the one Cuban gangster, he rolls up. He's got a really nice car, chat. Fastest car on the island in Havana. And Dom rolls up in this thing. It looks like it's about to explode. But then, boom, they start the race. Now, what I appreciate about the way Cubans do the drag races, chat, is that they actually send out people on motorcycles to stop traffic as the drag race continues. They do the I think they call it the Havana Mile, or the Cuban Mile, where you race for a mile at this one location. You go this way. But they send out these people on motorbikes to literally like, hey, we're stopping traffic right now, okay, so you don't get hit. I was like, that's really cool, because in all the other fucking previous films, chat, in Los Angeles, in Miami, they did not do that shit. Dom, Brian O'Connor, they got so many innocent people killed because of the way they were doing those 10-cent races, chat. Tokyo Drift, all those innocent people killed by Han and Lucas Black. So I was like, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool that they did it this way. Thank you for the bidding. Thank you for the bidding. Dom, what the fuck do you mean cocaine is going to save us? Yes, it'll do it. It will indeed. And so they take off. But the thing is, even though this Cuban gangster, chat, whatever, I don't know what his name is. It doesn't matter what his name is. Even though he's got the best car, fucking Dom was right, because it really matters, chat. It doesn't even matter what you fucking got in the vehicle, chat. You can literally beat a top-of-the-line vehicle if you have NOS and if you have a Coca-Cola can. That's all you need, all right? And he's like, fuck, but he's in league with the people on the motorbikes that are stopping traffic, and he says, gotta fuck this Buster up, take Toretto out. And so Dom's like ahead of him and stuff. But this one guy, he like revs up his motorcycle and like pushes it in front of Dom's car, and boom, it hits it. It's like, oh no. By the way, Dom's engine is just like fire train, like fire engine red at this point, chat. It's just, it looks like it's throbbing. It looks like it's filled with liquid hot magma. It's like, that's not good. And then this Cuban guy drives past him, and it's like, oh, see you at the finish line, Toretto. And then Dom's like, fucking Buster. But it doesn't matter, Chad. It doesn't matter, because what Dom does is, he's like, the only way I could possibly, because then the engine explodes. The engine starts exploding, and he's getting like this fire just coming right at him, Chad. He's like, oh, fire bad. And like, fire is bad to Dom. The thing is, though, it doesn't hurt him. It literally superheats the glass on the dashboard and pops it, and it goes in his face. But as we all know, Chad, Dom is not affected by the elements anymore. Again, logic, physics, gravity, they do not apply in this franchise for Fury 7 on, Chad. So he's like, ugh. But he can't. The thing that affects him is not the heat, not the searing pain of molten glass, Chad. No, it's just that he can't see. And so what he does is he reverses the fucking car, Chad. He reverses the car so he drives backwards, so the flames are going the opposite direction. And he's just looking back, and he catches up to the Cuban gangster. The Cuban gangster's like, what the fuck? And he's like, see you later, Buster. And he crosses the fucking finish line, chap. The thing is, though, the brakes have gone on the car, and he can't stop. He's like, oh, wait. People are like, Will, you won. You did it, Dom. Yay. He's like, get out of the way. And eventually, they're like, oh, fucking shit. They get out of the way, chat. Dom jumps out of the car as the car hits this barrier, flips like a dozen times in the air, and then lands, chat, in the Caribbean Ocean where it explodes. And everyone's like, whoa! And then all these little kids who apparently, chat, were watching the race and abandoned their schoolwork. They're like, fuck it. I don't want to have an education. We don't need no education. They just want to watch Dom race and be drag racers and international criminals / super spies like Dom. And so they all surround him, chat. And Dom just like, hello, children. And he just randomly picks up a little girl, chat, and just starts like, yeah. It's like, who is that little girl? I don't know. But then this Cuban gangster, he walks over. And they did the whole thing where they bet pink slips. And so he has his fucking car keys. And he's like, Dominic Toretto, your cousin's debt is wiped clean. You have my car. But also, you have my respect. And Dom looks at the car keys. And he sees this, got the little Cuban flag. He looks at the Cuban flag. And he's like, you keep your car. Your respect is the only thing I need. And the Cuban gangster is like, you're my bro, Dom. He's like, I'm your bro, Cuban gangster guy. Woo! I'm going to call upon you for a very important but menial task later on in the movie. He's like, cool. And then Vin Diesel's cousin walks in and goes, whoa, it's badass, but I lost my car. It's destroyed. He's like, don't worry about it. I'm a fucking millionaire. And he just gives him his supercharged American muscle car. He's like, woo! And everyone's like, yay! Nothing matters when you have money. Everything's possible with money, which is true. Chat. And so after that, Letty's like, damn, let's go back and have sex, damn. And so they go to their Cuban residence, chat, where Letty and Dominic Toretto proceed to have copious amounts of sexual intercourse, chat. And by the way, Dom is just pay attention to the colors of this movie, chat, because in the beginning of the film, Dom is wearing all white. He's pure. He's innocent, chat. But that color scheme is going to change. And him and Letty are sitting in bed, or laying in bed, because they just had a lot of sex. And Letty's like, Dom, do you remember when we were by the wharfs, by the coast and everything, and we saw that guy with his kids? Didn't you think that was cute? He goes, those kids were pretty cute. She's like, don't you ever like to think about how you would be as a dad? And he's like, he looks at you, he pulls down the blanket and lifts up her shirt to see. She's like, I'm not pregnant, Dom. I'm not pregnant, but what if I was pregnant? And it's like, would you, would you be open for kids? He's like, of course. It's just, he's like, we never really thought about it, right? It's never come up. He goes, yeah. Anyway, and then we transition. So I think Letty wants to have children, but Dom's like, I don't know. Never really crossed my mind. All it better now. It's going to be at the forefront of your fucking mind. Damn. Thank you, DT Dark. Let me just, hey, kids, do you want to worship a man who nearly beat a man to death and made him a vegetable? Also stole Panasonic TV, DVD player combos in the early 2000s? Hell yeah, we do. Hell yeah. Yay. Because he has money and nothing matters. But after that, yeah, they have that nice little conversation about maybe or maybe not having children. And it's like, okay, cool. But Dom, it's like the next day or something, he's walking. Good old Dom, he's walking. He's picked up a flower, rose for Letty. He's got a baguette or something. He's got more stuff. And he sees this white lady, chat, working on her car. Looks like it's not working or something. And her hair is just, it looks like straw. It's just very dried out. It's this Cuban heat, chat. She's like, you got to moisturize. He walks over, she's like, you got to moisturize. She's like, what? And he's like, is there something wrong with your car? She goes, oh, yeah, I just don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. He's like, let me check it out. He goes over to it, and, she's like, so how long have you been here for? He's like, oh, just a few weeks, And she's like, oh, yeah, why are you in Cuba? Oh, why anyone is in Cuba, for the culture, for the cuisine, for the beautiful people. And he looks at her, and she goes, well, I'm glad you're enjoying your honeymoon, Dom. And he's like, how do you know me? She's like, I know everything about you. I am being retconned into the history of this franchise. And he's like, what? She's like, I asked Dom. Yes. I have been responsible for everything. Not only Not only, Dom, have you defeated my previous teams of Digimon Hunsu and Owen Shaw. They worked for me. Not only did Braga work for Owen Shaw, but in fact work for me, but you also stole the very Panasonic televisions from me all those years ago, Dom. I've been watching you. It's like, what? It's like they literally like, Dom, my biological clock is ticking. It's true. It was me, Dom. It was me all along. And I love it. It's like they always retcon like every single movie now. And I just love, yep, she's behind Owen Shaw. She's behind Digimon Hunsu. She's behind Braga. She's behind the Panasonic TVs. All that fucking shit. She's like the Thanos level threat of the Fast and Furious universe. And he's like, I don't like you. You're mean. And she's like, but I have one thing that'll make you betray the thing you love most. He's like, what's that? Family. He's like, I never betray my family. Oh, yeah? Look at this. And she hands him a phone. And he's like, oh. And she's like, I'm going to give you this fucking phone and you're going to call, all right? You're going to come to me when I call you and you're going to do anything I want. He's like, oh. And then she gets in her car because she fixes it instantly because she knows all about cars. She's a master hacker, Charlize Theron. She knows all the cars. She knows weapons. And she can hack any system. She's like Tej and Ramsey combined, except even better than them combined. That's how powerful she is. It's like, whoa! Yeah, but I love it. It's like it was Charlize all along. Very much so. It's like it's crazy. Thanos, and Mr. Nobody's Mephisto. Yes! So, at this point, it's like, oh, shit, well, this is the new threat. What the fuck is going on here, shit? But it doesn't matter because we cut, and The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, has become a soccer mom, chat. He is currently performing, what is it called, a haku? It's that Samoan intimidation dance with his band, his team of 10-year-old girl soccer players, chat, and they're performing the haku, whatever it's called, towards the other team, and it scares the fucking bejesus out of the other team. Like, we don't want to play anymore. The big brown man keeps yelling and dancing at us. And chat, I'm sorry, but if The Rock suddenly started like thrusting and dancing at you and just sweating and his eyes are sticking out, it would be like the most horrifying fucking thing in the world. Like you would know that you would freeze up. You're like a gazelle, like a deer in the headlights going, oh, and you would want to run away. You want to run away. You wouldn't want to play soccer, chat. So very, very, very intimidating. And he goes over the sideline, chat. I love it because all the fucking moms are there just lusting over him. And it's like, oh my God, he's so hot. They love him so much. But then this government agent stops by and he's like, hey, Mr. Rock, we have a mission for you. He's like, can't you see I'm busy coaching my young daughter's soccer team right now, okay? And he's like, I understand that, but there's this special Black Ops mission you need to perform. And the thing is, like, it has to be completely off the books. Like Uncle Sam wouldn't be able to support you. You have to steal this EMP device, okay, from the Germans, from Deutschland, okay? And we'll have to, if you get caught, we'll disown you. But it's a matter of national security and the fate of the world. And we need Luke Hobbs and his fucking team. He's like, that's not my team. And he's like, I know, but I know it's your family. He's like, oh, boy, all right, well, listen. I'll consider it, but you got to cheer for my daughter's team, okay? He's like, oh, I don't know what to... Cheer for the Red Dragons! Go Dragons! Say it again! Go Red Dragons! And his daughter's like, she's running around the fucking field, just like beating up all the smaller children, chat. Kicking in the soccer ball and the goals, and she comes over, she's like, Daddy! He's like, yeah! And they're like hugging and shit, and the daughter just stares at the guy like this, which is terrifying, chat. I would not want that to happen. And she's like, Daddy. He's like, what? He's like, is this man taking you away? He will. He's like, ooh. She gets very mad. Jack. But he's like, don't worry, honey. Don't worry. He's just like, I know. Daddy's got to go to work, honey, but I'll be back and I'll be at your next game. Don't you worry. She's like, okay. And then we cut back to Cuba, chat, where Dom, he's working on like a new, like, I don't know, some car device thing. I have no fucking clue. He's working on something, shit. He's cauterizing or solderizing something. And then he gets the fucking call from Luke Hobbs. And literally Luke Hobbs just says, Dom, I need you for a mission. Are you and your team ready? Are you and your family ready? He goes, we'll be there. And it's like no details, just like, we'll do it. But he already knows. She already knows. And then, shit, we cut We then cut, and we're in Berlin, Germany, chat, Deutschland. And boom, we just see explosions. Random explosions are happening in this facility, this compound. And then we see the entire fucking team, like, literally just burst through this concrete wall, chat. We see The Rock, we see Dom, we see Letty. We see Tej and Ramsey. They're in the car together, Chad. Like, are they a couple? Are they not a couple? We don't know. We also see Roman Pierce, and they're just going down this road. Like, we didn't even see the heist, Chad. It's the first time where we actually don't see the heist. We just see this chase scene. And they have stolen an EMP device, Chad. It's an electromagnetic pulse device that can knock out all electronics, Chad. Okay? It's kind of like one of the many, there's like 3 MacGuffins in this movie. This is one of those MacGuffins, Chad. And they're like, okay, shit, we're going to have to get away from all these goddamn Germans, and we need to activate the crane. And for whatever reason, chat, Tej has managed to hack in, along with Ramsey. They both hack. They're like a hacking duo now. They've somehow taken control of this giant fucking crane shield, this huge, this ball and chain, and they unleash it upon basically the German police. I mean, it's this guys just trying to do their jobs. It's like a security force there. And they just kill all these fucking guys. Or literally swings forward once, knocks all these guys out, just taking their heads off and everything. And Roman's like, God damn it, Tej, you didn't hit all of them. He's like, don't worry, man. Physics. This is the first time that actually fucking physics comes into play, Chad, in a Fast and Furious movie, where it actually, it swings, but what happens when it swings forward, Chad? It swings backward, and it hits all the rest of the security forces. And it's like, okay, we destroyed the German army, so the German army has been destroyed, Chad, by the family. It's like, okay, guys, we're gonna have to split up now, so let's all split up. But Letty notices Dom. He looks a little sad. By the way, Dom is no longer wearing his white shirts. He's not wearing a long sleeve white shirt. He's not wearing a white wife beater, chat. No, you know what he's wearing? He's wearing dark black shirts, chat, because Dom is not innocent. He has been corrupted by Cypher Scarecrow, by Charlize Theron, chat. And it's like, she knows something's up with him. She could tell. And he's like, I'll meet you back at base. And she's like, okay, Dom. And they split up, and The Rock and Dom, they take this one path. The Rock, he has the EMP device in the back of his Humvee. And The Rock's like, good work, brother. Thank you and your family for the amazing job you did. I love you, Dom. And Dom's like, I'm sorry. Family! And then he slams his car into The Rock's Humvee, and The Rock's like, no! And you see The Rock going, oh, as his car flips over, Chad, hits a guardrail, and he's pinned. The Rock is pinned to the ground via his car. He's like, Dom, Toretto, why? And like Dom walks over and he unhooks the EMP device and puts it in his car. Toretto, what you're doing? You're bringing the whole fucking world after you, man, and I'll be the one leading them. Why are you doing this, Dom? And Dom's like, I'm doing it for family. And so then he drives away. And The Rock, he sees that the German police force, they're coming for him. And he gives a call to Letty and Tej and Roman and all the rest of them. And he's like, Dominic Toretto's betrayed us. And they're like, that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. He never betrayed the goddamn family. He's like, I saw it happen. He hit me, and here I am. He took the EMP device. We're like, well, okay, we're coming right back for you. He's like, you can't. The German police is coming after me at this point. You got to go back to base. It's like, holy shit. Like, there's a lot to take in. Just a lot to take in. The thing is, though, chat, Dom, he's still trying to escape the German police force. He's driving the car, but then we see this massive fucking cargo plane, like, coming down this airship. It lands, and Dom, he does the opposite of Hohenshaw. He gets up in there, chat, and it fucking closes. And he gets out, chat, and he goes into the plane, but we don't see what happens. Like, what's going on, chat? It's like, whoa! What a fucking betrayal. Mordecai, the activities. Of course, his shirt changes, change of character. Also, he missed the last match. Oh, I'm sorry, Mordecai. My apologies. I'm on a roll, baby. I'm on a roll. I'm the gossip pants out equipment you stole from me. Now I will use my god powers to make you turn on family. Pretty much. It's pretty much what happens. Thank you for the biddies, by the way. Chris Harris, that scene of Dom walking away from Hobbs, also only shot in the whole movie where they're on screen. That's true. I've heard some green screens involved. So I should probably mention that The Rock and Vin Diesel apparently had a big falling out during the making of this movie, Chad. It was published a while ago during the film's production. And apparently they just don't like each other, which is too bad. Which is too bad, because I really like to see them on screen, but there's some bad blood between them. I don't know. I forget even what in regards to what. I don't know who's at fault. I think it's implied that like Vin Diesel's more at fault, but who knows? I don't know. It's just too bad when egos get in the way. No family. No family, chat. So yeah, this is like the only. You're right, Chris. This is the only scene where The Rock and Vin Diesel are actually on screen together and like next to each other. It's kind of nuts. Where green screen's not involved and stuff. But it's like, wow, yeah, that's why we're probably never going to see Hobbs, and that's why Hobbs is not in F9. It's probably we're never going to see him in other Fast Furious. So, well, who knows? Chat. I imagine they'll bring him back for 10, maybe 11. But I mean, that might have been also part of the reason why they did that spin-off series. It's like, okay, we still want to use this character, obviously, but can't work with Vin Diesel anymore. Anyway, it just sucks. Bros need to make up and bro. Indeed, Beast of Cab, they need to bro. Bros need to make up and be bros. Indeed. Bro to the bro. Omar, bro. Good to see you. Oh, but Dom does that. He's in the plane. We're like, what's going on? We'll find out. But then, we cut back to home base where everyone's like, oh, like, why would Dom do this? Why would he get Hobbs captured? And Ramsey, she starts saying, well, maybe fucking Dom's just finally turned on all of us. I mean, he is a criminal. And Letty's like, bitch, you be careful. You be careful what you say about Dom. And then she gives her the shoulder nudge, chat, which is really cold and aggressive. When someone walks by you and they go, they give you like a little shoulder nudge. She's like, oh, shit. Even Tyrese is like, oh, wow, she gave you the fucking shoulder nudge. Like, that is really aggressive. I mean, are you gonna talk to her? Are you gonna apologize to her? And she goes, I don't know. And she goes over to her computer and she starts typing. He's like, are you sending her an email? And she goes, maybe it's the only way I know how to communicate with people. It's like, Jesus Christ, girl, you gotta learn to talk to people. You can't just be in front of a TV screen or a computer screen the whole time. It's like, oh boy, all right, fair enough. But yeah, the family, they were very confused about Dom's betrayal, chat. They just don't understand. Eventually, chat, we cut to The Rock, and he is being sent to a maximum security prison, chat. I don't know where. I don't know if he's in Berlin or something, but he's wearing the orange jumpsuit and shit. They got him on these chains. By the way, they have these little dinky chains, and he's walking just like, oh, and he's like taller than everyone in the scene. It's very intimidating. He's walking, chat, and you know who fucking shows up to greet him, chat? Mr. Nobody. Kurt Russell's back, chat, and he's like, Hobbs, not used to seeing you wearing these kind of duds, my man. And he's like, what do you want, Mr. Nobody? He's like, listen, I can get you out of here, okay? It's going to be obviously off the books, not going to be able to come back to the United States for quite some time. But we'll get you out, man. It's no problem. He goes, no, we're going to do this the right way. He's like, okay, you want to spend years through, like, trials and the courts? I mean, be my guest. Like, I can help you, all right? And he's like, no, I don't want your help. And then this little fucking buster, chat, this punk buster, he jumps in, and it's Scott Eastwood. I'm sorry. Like, hey, Scott Eastwood, probably a nice guy in real life, but not a very good actor, chat. And he tries to be the Brian O'Connor character of this movie. Even drives the blue sports car, the blue racer that Brian always typically gravitates to. It's like, get out of here with that. Don't give me that. No. Get out of here. And he's just like, you should take the deal. Your government is paying for your crimes. He's like, I did this off the books. Okay, my government asked me to do this, and they said they would disown me, all right? And he's like, don't you want to see your little girl again? Aren't you betraying her? And The Rock's like, brother, you fucked up. Even Kurt Russell goes, ooh, I wouldn't have said that. Kurt Russell, like, walks away. He walks away. He's like, ugh, I would have said that. And The Rock literally grabs, the first thing he grabs on Scott Eastwood, he grabs that scrotum. He grabs that pale ball sack and peen, grabs it shit and grips it tight, and he's got that Dwayne The Rock Johnson's grip. Must be like a fucking iron vice. He grabs, we see Scott, he goes, ah! And then he grabs his neck, and he just lifts him up like this. He turns him around and holds him against the wall like this, chat. Where Kurt's like, listen, boys, take it easy. Listen, he doesn't know, he's learning. He's trying his very best. He just doesn't know the ropes. He's like, I don't know the ropes. And The Rock just goes, ah, and he drops him. He's like, I'll do this myself, Mr. Nobody. And, Kurt Russell's like, all right, man, do what you got to do. I'll be seeing you, Hobbs. He's like, no, you won't. Thank you, by the way, to Mordecai for the maze. Dom must be mad at his brother, and Hobbs wrestled twice at WrestleMania changes bro. Chris Harris, thank you for the vibes. Like, Paul Walker wasn't a great actor, but he still had a certain charm to him, and he was likable. Yes, yeah, absolutely. No, he had great chemistry with all the other actors in the film series. That's what I've always said. Like, yeah, he was never the strongest actor, but this was his best character. He worked extremely well with Vin Diesel. They had a rapport. He eventually grew to have a rapport with Tyrese Gibson. and Ludacris and Michelle Rodriguez, and so it always worked. We always had a nice rapport with Michelle Rodriguez and Jordana Brewster. You believe that they're a loving couple. And two hot people just fucking. Skitty Squid in this movie is just a prissy douche, and he doesn't fit in with the group. He does not. That's probably why he's not in the... Is he in the movie? I don't even know. I have no idea. But then he goes in the prison, and he's being walked down all these cells, and who's his fucking cellmate across the way, Chad, directly in front of him? Deckard Shaw. And he's like, oh, I thought I smelled baby oil. And he's like, oh, Deckard Shaw, this tea and crumpets motherfucker. And all this serves is just to establish and just to act as a trampoline and springboard, if you will, chat, to the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff franchise. It's just them going back and forth and insulting each other. That's all. A lot of this feels like they're flirting. They want to fuck. There is at one point where I'm like, can you two just kiss? It would be hot, chat, to watch them go at it. Jason Statham, The Rock. It's like The Rock would definitely like cuddle Jason Statham at the end of it, but it's like, wow, just kiss. I would have done it. I would have just kissed him. But they're just insulting each other back and forth and shit, and they're like, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to break you. It's like, as soon as I get out of here, I'm going to kill you. It's like, oh, shit, yeah. The two of the franchise's biggest badasses going at it, with the exception of Dom, of course. But two of the other franchise biggest badasses going at it. Can't wait to see that shit. But then we then cut, and Dom is going to be talking with Cypher, chat, with Charlize Theron. He goes inside of her plane house. Her plane has everything, chat. We see all these super technical things. By the way, she has like this entire team of hacking people who disappear at the very end of the movie. I have no idea what happened to them. Maybe she killed them. I don't remember. But they're all there. He goes in there. And who does Dom meet? Her second in command, chat. Tormund Giantsbane from Game of Thrones. You remember Tormund? Like Jon Snow's friend, where he's like, little crow. It's that guy. I forgot. I was like, oh, fuck. I totally forgot he was in this movie. I'm going to beat you like a Cherokee drum. It's a goddamn good line. I love that. I forgot he was in this movie because they literally do so little with him, chat. Like, Tormund Giantsbane, like, he's intimidating, he's big. The guy's a good actor, obviously, and he's in a couple scenes, and he's not really a badass at all. He is kind of like fronts, and he does like a really shitty thing later on in the movie. But other than that, he's kind of wasted to me. But he goes in there. Yeah, Vin loves bringing Game of Thrones actors. Apparently does. They had, what's her name? They had Ramsey coming in here, chat. Emmanuel, what's her name? Natalie Emmanuel, who played Missandei, Khaleesi's girl. And you have Tormund Giantsbane. I mean, cool to have him here, but they just don't do enough with him. And he's basically there to intimidate Dom, and Dom's like, I'm not intimidated by no British ginger buster. And Cypher's like, listen, Dom, I'm going to explain how the whole world works. And he's like, what? And her whole thing, chat, like, okay, what is Cypher's deal? Because she just starts monologuing about how I can get you anything you need in the world to do these things. It's like, you don't have what, I only want one thing in this world. So you don't want the guns, you don't want the money, you don't want the unlimited. She apparently has unlimited resources, and she can accomplish this in all ways, but she just needs Dom for whatever reason. Again, it's personal. She says, because this is all fucking business. This is like, she's like a megalomaniac. Like, her whole thing is like, what I'm doing, Dom, I'm going to destroy the world to save the world. Like, she's legitimately, truly probably the first supervillain in the franchise. Like, we've dealt with insane mercenaries, we've dealt with drug dealers, we've dealt with warlord chat. Like, that's how it's evolved. We've dealt with, street gangsters, all that shit. But she is the first supervillain the franchise dealt with, and her end game is like, I want to control the planet. That's what we've got, and I love it, chat. I mean, I admire it. I mean, this is not the best movie. I really admire the fact that we went from, and she even says, Dom, like, you've had quite the career. She mentions it, stealing DVD players and Panasonic television. I was like, that is fucking hilarious that she brings that up here. But she says, don't you want more than that? He's like, I just want the simple things in life. Family. But she's like, no, I want to rule the goddamn world, and you're going to help me do it. And he's like, all right, how many DVD players do you want? I have all of them. It's like, of course you do. But it's like, yeah, it's a little bit, basically her just monologuing, whatever. Eventually, Chad, we cut back to the prison, and The Rock and Shaw are still flirting with each other. It's like, just open the cell door so they can fuck. But they're flirting back and forth, and The Rock is just like, he's just punching a wall, and Shaw is just like, you're gonna tuck yourself out if you keep doing that. And it's like, shut your goddamn mouth. He's like, all that muscle, all show, but in terms of function, he would fail you in a second. And The Rock literally grabs like the concrete bench, rips it from the wall, and just starts doing reps with the chest, like a full concrete bench. He goes, this is gonna be you in a second. You're gonna be lifting me up and bringing me to your chest. I want to just bury my head in those supple pecs of yours. Just like, I'm gonna break you. And at this point, the Rex is like, listen, when this fucking door opens, man, one day when this happens, we're gonna go at it, okay? They're gonna need to pick up the fucking pieces. I mean, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Darkseid the Good I have no idea how she'll think that will work out. She'll have plenty of enemies doing that. If I were her, I rule from the shadows. A lot less targets. I know. But she literally wants to rule the world. That is her end game. That's how it is. Keep in mind how short these guys. It actually is. The Rock's not too tall. Jay Statham is not that tall. Even Vin Diesel's not that tall. But, they're doing the thing. And then all of a sudden, like, the doors actually start opening. Like, the Rock's door opens, and he looks at the security camera because, the reason why the door opens is because Mr. Nobody needs him to stop the situation with Toretto and stuff. And Dom, I need your help. And the Rock's like, no, Mr. Nobody, no. I'm going to do this my way. And all the security guards start fucking panicking as they come over there because they think the Rock is breaking out. And it was like, get back in your cell. Get back in your cell. He's like, I'm already in my cell. There's just a malfunction, fellas. Okay, fucking put your hands down. You're threatening us. We'll shoot you. And he's like, guys. And then while these guys are distracted, Shaw, he grabs one of the security guards, one of the prison guards. Chad just snaps his neck, takes his little glowy stick, his little baton, and his little cattle prod, fries the circuits above his cell door, and that somehow, chat, sets off all the other cell doors, and all the prisoners escape and just starts stabbing and shivving all the prison guards to death. Meanwhile, Shaw, and we get probably one of the best action scenes in the film. It's pretty goddamn good, where Jason Statham and The Rock just showcase their hand-to-hand combat prowess, chat. Where Jason Statham, he's jumping around like a little fucking monkey, chat. He's doing all his parkour stuff, using the weight of his enemies against them and stuff. The Rock is just literally just grabbing people and going, rah, rah. He's just throwing them around like the Hulk and shit. Like, you have these guys, great scene where someone is just pumping rubber bullets and like shooting the Rock with rubber bullets. And he goes, rubber bullets, you're making me mad. And he shoots him again, and he's like, ooh, you fucked up. And he grabs the gun and just starts smashing him. He's not even firing. He's just using the gun to hit people with, chat, and going at him. He's chasing after Shaw because he wants to make sure he doesn't escape. And Shaw's doing his whole fucking kung fu and Krav Maga, chat, just kicking everyone's asses. Eventually, The Rock and he catches up to Shaw. They start fucking battling, but then they're blasted out, Chad, and they fall out of the prison. They roll down this plank or something, chat, down this way, and they get up to fight. Like, oh, here we go. They're gonna square off, chat, just like they said they would. They're gonna fuck hard, but then they stop. The lovemaking stops, shit, because Mr. Nobody, he walks and he goes, fellas, just the two boys I wanted to see. And they're like, what? And fucking Mr. Nobody's recruited The Rock and Shaw for this next mission. And so at this point, chat, he brings them to his secret lair. He has a new lair, chat. This is a new one. And The Rock's like, it's usually not your style. There usually should be more beer kegs around here. It's like, they'll be shipped in later on. But I want to introduce you to your team. And we see that apparently because he said Scott East would go ahead and recruit the rest of Dom's team. But when they all walk in there, Caruso's like, what the hell is this? What the hell? Because he's like, patting him on the back. It's like, oh, good to see you guys again. He's like being really nice. But he notices all of them are handcuffed. And he's like, Scott Eastwood, what the fuck is this? You told me to round them up. I told you to recruit them and to bring them here, not to arrest them. And they're like, guys, I'm so sorry. He's a little green. He's a little green around the gills, okay? And The Rock says he's green as baby shit. Which I'm like, wow, what an insult. And then I think Tyrese Gibson, Roman, he says, it's like, so what do we call you? What's your name? He's like, that's classified. I'm going to call you Lil Nobody. He's Lil Nobody, chat. And that is actually the name. That's what he's listed in the credits as, chat. Lil Nobody. Oh, it's so fucking sad. Oh, he's not like me. He's less than me. Oh, that was a hell of a fucking line. I don't think that was in the script. It was real. It felt real. It's like, wow, you're just bullying Scott Eastwood. I mean, again, he doesn't add much to the film itself. It's very funny, though. And at this point, they're like, oh, shit, well, you know what? I mean, because, you know, at this point, Tyrese is like, I just want to leave. This is kind of fucked up. He's like, guys, I need you for this mission. And listen, if you leave this building, I can't do much for you at this point. You are on the FBI's, on the United States 10 most wanted list. And they're all like, really? Holy shit. And Tyrese is like, I'm on the 10 most wanted list? Well, actually, you didn't make the cut. And he goes, what? He's actually, well, The Rock, he is 6th. Letty, you're 7. Tej, I believe you're 9. They skip 8 for whatever reason. And Ramsey, she's actually 10. And she's like, she's 10 and I'm 11? That's bullshit, man. I should be on that list. He goes, I don't know what to say to you, man. Night Day Nick, thank you for extending your 2-1 gifts all the way through August. Cheers and salute to you, my friend. Happy to have you here. Hope you're really entertained. And they're like, well, fuck. Well, all right, I mean, we can do this mission. I mean, what's up? What do we need to do? But he's like, I'm sorry, before we start, I should actually bring in your latest member of your family. And who walks in, chat? Deckard goddamn Shaw. He's like, how you doing, you pansies? And they're like, what? This guy who killed Han? Who tried to kill us in the last movie? And Mr. Nobody's like, yep, it doesn't matter. There are no consequences. He's going to be a member of your family. He's going to come to the barbecue. And they're like, what? And he's like, that's how it has to be. And I'm like, all right, this fucking shit is nuts. She's not a 10. Oh, she's definitely a 10. That was a good line. That was a good line. Tej is always flirting with Ramsey in this movie. Just put them together. Just like a little smooch chat. That's great. But at this point, Tyrese is like, okay, well, we got to track this Cypher. Because, you know, Kurt Russell starts talking about Cypher, saying that, you know, she's a megalomaniac. She's a Batman villain. She's an expert hacker. She's an expert combat. She's all of these things. She's been behind Owen Shaw. And by the way, we get a line from Deckard Shaw says, she's the one that corrupted my brother. Because apparently, Chad, this is when they start to, like, soften Deckard Shaw. Deckard Shaw, who was the villain in the last movie, who killed Han. Who murdered Han, Chad. Owen Shaw, who kidnapped Mia, who also was responsible for the death of Gazelle. You know, they're like, oh, Deckard Shaw's like, Cypher's the reason why my brother became evil. It's what she does. Which I'm like, what? The retconning, Chad, in effect, is ridiculous. And he, you know, at this point, and so it's just like we're gonna soften up Deckard Shaw so he's like more acceptable and to be a member of the family, and also to, you know, make sense to have him team up with The Rock in the Hobbs and Shaw spin-off movie. It's like I see what they're doing here, but it's just not earned, I think. Like The Rock, like listen, Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham have a great rapport. They have chemistry. That's on full display. But it's just really weird to me that they're like, oh, yeah, I'm not really evil, even though I did all these obviously evil things for evil purposes. It's like, come on. It's not earned in any bit. And the fact that they try to then retcon Owen Shaw, no, he was an innocent little boy, and he was corrupted by Cypher. It's like, give me a break. But it's like, all right, whatever. Nothing matters, as Mr. Nobody says. And at this point, they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll work with you. But Tyrese is like, well, why don't we just use God's Eye? Oh, MacGuffin number 2, chat. You have the EMP and God's Eye, which was the original MacGuffin in Furious 7. And Kurt Russell's like, that's actually a good idea. Let's use God's Eye, which can literally track down anyone. It can hack any computer, any electronic device, chat, anything that has a camera, and it can find you like in seconds around the world. And they're like, cool, let's look in the God's Eye. And so they plug in God's Eye, chat, which is in a little fucking USB. They plug that sucker in there. And they start looking. They start looking all around the world, and they're like, "Oh, she's in fucking Greece or something." But then it's like, "Oh, we got a pin in Hong Kong. We got a pin in Seoul. We got a pin in Tokyo," and it goes all around. She's everywhere. And they're like, "Oh, well." She's like a master hacker. She's like the greatest hacker that ever lived. And she's able to confuse God's Eye. Well, isn't that fucking convenient? It's like, okay, I'm using logic, Bilbo, and I shouldn't use logic. I'm sorry. You are correct. But God's Eye has now been rendered useless at this point. And they're like, okay, well, and then they do some weird, like, I don't know what the hell it is. Tej and Ramsey then say, like, if we do this with God's Eye, then we should be able to, oh no, they say, look, we'll find Dom. Let's use this on Dom instead. And they're like, okay. And like, that's a good idea. And you know, Roman's like, see, I would have said that would be my next thing I would have said. That's what the next thing I would be. It's like, sure you would. So they do that, and it locates on this, he's somewhere in this facility. or somewhere is like, okay, here he is. And Mr. Nobody's like, huh, that's kind of weird. And they go, why? What's up? He goes, because that facility is exactly right here. And then, boom, explosion, chat. And an entire concrete wall comes down, shrapnel fires everywhere. And these like little grenades, chat, these concussion grenades as they're called, they go off. Everyone's like, nah, nah. Everyone's whap, 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 nah, 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 because they can't hear, they can't speak, which is weird. Like, they can't actually fucking hear. But that doesn't stop Charlize Theron from walking in full black regalia, chat, along with Dom, who is also cloaked in all black, chat, because he's been corrupted by Cypher. And so they walk in there, and she's like, oh, looks like your family's all here, Dom. And it's like, oh, thank you so much, Mr. Nobody, for telling me the location of God's Eye. And she's like, I guess she's going to steal God's Eye for herself, even though she's a master hacker. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So she goes up to the computer board, and thankfully you left it in a USB device. And she just like, there it is. I got it. And then Letty, she's like, Dom. But she's all kind of fucked up. She's like, Dom, you never turn your back on family. He's like, Letty. He looks so sad. And she's like, oh, Dom, this is your wife, huh? Dom, come here. And she just lays a big wet kiss on Dom, just like, Letty's like, Dom. And she's so sad. And she goes, he's not your family anymore. Come on, Dom. He's so sad. As they just walk away. They just walk out. It's so goddamn funny. It's like, all right. And they leave. And then the whole team's like, what the fuck? What's that? He just takes out all these guys, all of Mr. Nobody's guys like it was nothing. But then, chat, we cut back to Cypher's plane, where Dom is like, why did you kiss me in front of Letty? That felt really personal. She says, well, it was personal when, and then she just repeats all the retcon bullshit, where it's like, it was personal when you took down my Owen Shaw team and my Digimon Hunsu team, and when you went after Braga, when you went after Reyes. It's like, everybody. She's responsible for everybody. It's like, all right. And he's like, you didn't need to do that, okay? She's like, well, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna fucking show you why you're doing this, okay? And then she leads him to a room, chat, where it's all dark. And they ask like the shutter door, open the shutter door. It's all dark inside this room. And boom, the lights come on, chat. And who do we see inside the room? Elena Neves. From Fast 5 and 6 and 7, chat, Dom's former lover who he abandoned for when Letty miraculously came back to life. And she's like, Dom. He's like, not Letty. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, I will protect you. She goes, don't protect me, Dom. Don't save me. Save. And she reaches over to the side. Our son. He's like, little bro. And he's like, Dada. He literally says, Dada. I'm Dada. I'm bro, Dada. And she's like, just make sure whatever happens, like, fuck my character. I'm irrelevant to this movie and apparently this franchise at this point. Just make sure our son's okay. And Cypher's just like, listen, you do what I say or I will fucking murder your son and her. All right, that's what I'll do. And he takes off his cross. This is a very important detail, and it's very contrived. But he takes off his cross, chat. His like, you know, the silver diamond cross, which apparently is only worth $20, and he hangs it above her like cell. Right there. He's like, I'm always with you. Da. And it's like, cool. And the, you know, Tormund Giantsbane, he comes over and he goes, Wah! And he closes the door. And Cypher's like, you'll do what I asked, Dom. I'm trying to destroy the world. In order to save the world, I must destroy it. And I must destroy your family. And you'll see one day. And he's like, no, you mean lady. And it's like, sure, I got no choice. That's right. This is where Vin Diesel overacts the fuck out of it. He really does. He starts crying. Like Officer Neves starts crying, chat. Like Vin Diesel's, he starts crying and shit. And then you have Charlize Theron, which overacting her ass off, says, I'll kill him. I'll kill them both if you don't do what I want. And he's like, oh, no. No. And closing the door. And it's like, cool. Eventually, that after that fucking shit chat, we cut back to the family. And They figure out that Jesus Christ, that they know exactly what Cypher, Charlize Theron, is after. And she's going to New York City to obtain these nuclear launch codes from this Russian envoy. And she's going to attack this convoy in order to get them. And obviously Dom's going to be there. And they're like, okay, cool, let's go to New York. It's the first time I believe New York City is in the debuts in the franchise. Because it's not, New York City's not doesn't appear in the franchise up till this point. So that's kind of cool. We see New York. Thank you, Dark Side with the 5 biddies. Since you glossed over it, I'll post my previous bit donation. I'm sorry, man. I'm just in the middle of the review. So a plot point from previous movies rendered useless. Sounds like the rest of the song. Pretty much, man. Pretty much. It is indeed. It is indeed. Thank you for the donations. So I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. And so they go to New York, and it's a front. The front is like, it's a smelly fishery where they're all cutting and disemboweling these fish. But behind the fishery, chat, is this giant fucking car garage filled with all these cars. And they drop the line here. These are cars that have been taken from every major drug cartel and mercenary group that was operating in the United States, and now they're yours. Except they're like, oh great, let's use these cars and we could take down Dom and Cypher. And this guy says, no, you can't use these cars. They're like, you just said we can use. Like, no, you can't use them. You can only use a couple of them. They're like, fuck, man. All right, Jesus Christ. But they all start doing their whole bonding thing where everyone's like taking apart the cars, putting them together. And this is where we get, again, it's them softening Deckard Shaw for the upcoming, the rest of this movie and for the rest of the series. And obviously for, what is it? Jesus Christ. Oh, Hobbs and Shaw, the spinoff film. And The Rock has somehow obtained a letter of congratulations to Shaw for his service, and we learned that Shaw was burned by his agency, so he was never really a bad guy, Chad. He just got burned by bad people, and he was forced to become a bad guy to survive and to protect, say it with me now, his family. It's like, oh, it makes sense. And, you know, that scrap of paper you have there, that means nothing to me. Well, it means something to a lot of people. I mean, you saved a lot of people. It's like, you saved a lot. It's like, come on, man. He killed Han. He murdered Han in cold blood. Whatever. And then they start bonding over putting this truck together. This supercar they got together. They like lift up this engine. They start doing this back and forth, like insulting each other. And then the Rock goes, ha 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 ha. That's a good one. Deckard Shaw goes, yeah, man, that was pretty funny. It's like, oh, they're becoming best friend. It's a little forced. It's a little. Oh yeah. Oh no. The whole thing with Shaw, like softening up his character, it's extremely forced. I know what they're doing, but it's just like it's not earned. It's not earned. After that, chat, like with Gazelle, it's like you could kind of see her. She was playing not really both sides, but she was just like, I'm a cog in the wheel. I work for this guy, but you know, I'm exactly a bad person. It's like it worked with Gal Gadot's character. Here's like, no, you killed people. You killed a lot of innocent fucking people. And Rock saying he wants to shove something on Statham's ass. Yeah, I think so. And then Statham goes like that. It's funny. But then after that, we cut to Dom, and he's driving throughout New York City, and Cypher is using the God's Eye to keep track of him, but then he, like, fucks with his car a little bit, and so, like, the engine, like, gives out, and Cypher's like, what's going on? He's like, I think the engine went out. I'm gonna go and check it. She's like, Dom, this is against the plan. It's not what we're supposed to do. He goes, just give me a second. Let me check it. And she's like, you got 5 fucking minutes. And he goes into this alleyway, and he's like, 5 minutes. He opens up the hood of his car, and he starts, playing around with it, chat, trying to fix it. And Cypher's like, I want to get some fucking eyes on him. Show me some eyes. And then this big windowless like pedophile van like backs up so you can't see Dom. And they're like, we can't get a visual on him. She's like, I don't give a shit. Like, give me a fucking reflection. Give me a shadow. I want to see him there. And they can't get one. And it's like, oh shit, what's going on? We then cut to Dom, and barely, he has 5 minutes. And this takes longer than 5 minutes. He somehow goes from this car to a pub nearby where Helen Mirren is. And Helen Mirren's like, you got some pretty big fucking balls for showing up here, Toretto. And he's like, thank you, Cruella de Vil. I'm here to speak to you, okay? And she said, what do you want, you do? And he's like, I know there's one thing in life you care more about than anything. She's like, what's that? And he produces, chat, a Dalmatian coat. And she's like, oh, I'll help you, love. And it's like, yeah. She's so cute. I'm not going to. No, Helen Mirren is fun in this movie. She's a good time. She's a good time. But no. What he does is, I know the thing you care most about is family. And she's like, all right. And he gives her this smartwatch. And he's like, you'll know when to use this. It's like, okay. And then eventually we cut back and like Cypher, like the pedophile van moves away. But Dom is right there fixing the engine. She's like, I got it. And she's like, this is fucked up. I don't like this. And he goes back in the car. And he starts driving. At this point, though, they got Cypher's using the God's Eye. They're tracking the Russian envoy at this point, and Dom's on his way. The thing is, like, it's a huge fucking envoy. It's with the New York City Police Department's there. He has his Russian Secret Service guards and shit. They got a lot of armor on him, a lot of heat on him. And it's like, okay. And she's like, that's okay because it's zombie time. And I'm like, what? And I totally forgot about this part in the movie. So. She is such an expert hacker, chat, that she has created a computer program that will infect cars, bring them to life, and force them to attack people. It's literally maximum overdrive, chat. It's literally fucking maximum overdrive, where she just brings if you have a microchip in you, if you have a computer system, you have a Bluetooth, she literally brings you to life and sends you after these people. It's zombie time. And I'm like, oh my God. And you see all these cars across New York City just turning on, people just are in them and they're going, ah! And like the people are just jumping out of the cars. And you see just an army of fucking cars, chat. It's a car system. It's a car tidal wave just going right at this Russian envoy. And they just start slamming into the cars, like slamming the cop cars, slamming into the Russian envoy. These Russians are like, what the fuck? They have these giant Gatling guns, and they literally just start firing at these, like, it might as well be zombies. That's what it is. They're firing at these, these zombie cars, chat, trying to take them out, create a path. The Russian envoy's with his little, Russian plaything boy. I don't know what the hell he is. His assistant. And they're all like, oh, fucking shit, this is weird. And then she's like, make it rain, zombies. And she activates all these cars inside of this parking garage and car depot and just like, Honda Civic or whatever shit it is, chap. Mitsubishi, and like literally cars start flying out of buildings, chat, just crashing into the Russian envoy, while all these other cars just start coming from every direction, chat. Right, left, up, down, below. Cars start coming out of the fucking like ground and shit, like real zombies, chat. It's like, what the fuck is happening? And they just they killed, like they managed to hit like the right cars, and they crushed the Russian envoy's car until it's stuck. It can't move. And then Dom comes in. And Dom looks like fucking Jason Voorhees, Shay. He's like an all-black Jason Voorhees guy, like all-black Jason Voorhees mask, got all this Kevlar body armor, has a giant bulletproof riot shield, and this huge fucking saw, Chad, which he's like, And this one Russian guy, he's like, fucking shoot whoever the fuck that creepy guy is. The guy's like, I will do this. And he starts shooting, but he just shoots all at the shield. He's like, I'm out of bullets. Why didn't you wait for him to drop the shield and then pop him or something like that, man? Why did you just unload into his shield? It was like stupid. He's like, I'm with the bullets, sir. And so then Dom, he jumps on top of the car, and the Russian envoy's assistant's like, don't worry about it. This car, it's ballistic proof. I'm able to get through it. Apparently not. Because he literally saws where you put the gas in, chat, the fuselage, and he ignites a torch, ignites a little flare. He says, I will burn you bustas alive if you do not give me the launch codes, which so happen to also be inside the car. And they're like, but if we give them to Putin, will kill us. He's like, Putin's going to kill us anyway, probably. And they're like, all right, that's a good point. And so they uncuff the things, and they give the nuclear launch codes to Dom. And he takes them, chat. And he goes into his car and he drives away. But, shit. Thank you, because of my base. That's the Furious Part 8. Bro takes Manhattan. But he gets into his car. He starts driving. But you know who confronts him, chat? The team. The family. And they're all there, chat. And they all have fucking giant harpoon guns, chat. Harpoons and tow cables. Just like from Star Wars. And they all got a fucking lock on Dom. And Cypher's like, all right, Dom, show him why you're the goddamn best. And it's literally the family plus Deckard Shaw versus Dom, chat. And they just start, like, firing their harpoons. Like, Letty fires her harpoon in the Dom, trying to stop him. along with Roman Pierce. They fired in, but his car is just so much better than theirs. It's 2,000 horsepower. No, it's 3,000 horsepower. And Deckard Shaw's like, that thing's 4,000 horsepower. Is that a thing? And they all start harpooning him, chat, and like holding him in place. Dom's like, fuck that shit. I can beat all you guys. And he just starts twirling his car around and literally throwing their cars around. Oh, one point, I forgot earlier on, Scott Eastwood, he's such a busted, chat. Dom does lead them on a little bit of a chase. But, by the way, Scott Eastwood is driving a blue speedster, Chad, a blue car. That's Brian's car. Don't you fucking dare do that, little nobody. You a little nobody. You don't get to drive Brian O'Connor's car. That's not your fucking car. And he even dresses like Brian now. I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Didn't like that. Let the bad taste in my mouth. Just a taste in my mouth, chap. But they're driving, and Dom, like, hits, like, these railings, like, for the, you know, when they do construction on. He hits them all of his car, and it brings down this whole fucking railing. Scotty's just like, no! And it crushes him, Shan. He's dead. No, he doesn't die. He just gets crushed, and he can't move anymore. And the Rock, he just goes through him. And that's when everyone starts harpooning Dom's car. And he starts twisting around and throwing everyone around and, like, defeats them. But then he fucks up his own car, too. And he runs away. But Deckard Shaw's like, oh, no, you don't. And he pursues him on foot, chat. But then Dom turns around, points a fucking gun at Deckard Shaw. And Deckard Shaw's like, what about street rules? And Dom's like, fuck street rules. Boom, boom, boom. And he shoots Deckard Shaw, and the Rock sees. He's like, no, Deckard. Like it's his lover, chat. He's like, no. But while this was happening, Letty, like, apparently was sneaking up behind him and goes, mine! And she's stolen the nuclear launch codes, chat, and she takes off fucking running. And he's like, Letty! And he runs after her, chat, and Cypher's like, give me those fucking launch codes, Dom. And he catches up to her. He's running behind her. And he's like, Letty, give me the code. She's like, no! And he fires it in the air. And she's like, stop. She's like, I know you wouldn't shoot me, Dom. Whatever you're doing, whatever the reason why you're doing this, I know that you love me. And you wouldn't do this, Dom. And she turns around. She keeps running. But then, oh no, Tormund Giantsbane shows her. Give them to me. And he grabs her and he throws her against the wall. And puts the gun in her head. He's like, we can do this nicely. Give me the codes. She's like, I ain't giving you shit, Busta. He's like, all right, I'm going to shoot you in your pretty face. But then Dom comes over and cocks his gun. He's like, you ain't going to do that, Busta. It's like, oh, shit. And Cypher's like, think what you're fucking doing, Dom. I will kill your wife and child. And eventually, Letty, she gives Tormund Giantsbane the nuclear codes. And he's like, let's go. And, you know, Dom follows Tormund Giantsbane. Letty's like, Dom. He's like, Letty, I'm sorry. But they leave. But you know something's fucking up. She knows something's fucking up. It's like, woo, this is not good. This is not good, church. It's getting pretty hectic at this point. But after this chat, we then cut to the plane where Dom goes on board, and Cypher is like, Dom, please come down to where your girlfriend, your baby mama is, and your son. And he goes down there, no one's there. But then she literally comes out of the shadows, chat, like Batman's like, Dom. He's like, oh, Jesus. He's like, you disappoint me, Dom. You disappoint me. You disobey me. He's like, what are you talking about? I got you the launch codes. Like, no, Tormund Giantsbane got me the launch codes, okay? You refused to shoot your wife, and therefore, you must be punished. And he's like, no. And the lights come on. And we see that she's holding Elena said, I named him Marcus, but it's only his middle name. I think Marcus was her husband's name, I believe. Damn! He overacts again, he really does. But he's holding his little, little Marcus, middle name. Because Elena says, I think the dad should name the son. It's like, all right, if you say his first name, give him his first name. Like, cool. So she's holding him, and she's like, he's so cute, isn't he? He's so light. Like she's gonna drop him. It's like, what the fuck? And we see that Elena's she's gagged and tied up and stuff. I mean, she's like, Dom, you must be punished for what you did. I'm trying to save the world. Can't you see what I'm trying to do? You're making me do this, Dom. And he's like, no. And then Tormund Giantsbane takes out his gun and goes, boom, 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 boom. And he kills Elena, chat, off screen. And Dom's like, Rrr! And he gets very sad. And it's like, God, they did Elena Neves dirty, chat. Like, seriously. I'm like, throughout the franchise, she was a cool character. She was a very, very cool character in, of course, Fast 5, and then they didn't do anything with her Fast and Furious 6 and 7, and they shoot her in the face like 3 times, and she's dead, and she's like, it's okay. She just starts petting the baby like, it's okay. He's crying for his mother, Dom. Dom's like, no. He's very upset. Eventually, all after this happens, chat, it's not good. It's not good. But the team, they come back to base, and everyone's really sad. And Deckard Shaw has been reported as killed. He's dead, chat. It's like, oh, no, Deckard Shaw's fucking dead. But then Mr. Nobody comes in, and he's like, hey, everybody, who wants to go to Russia? And they're like, what? Yeah, so we figured that the launch codes that they're going to use are for a particular nuclear submarine that, funny enough, has been taken over by terrorists. Russia's been trying to get it back for like the past month, but they haven't been able to. But I contacted Vladimir Putin, not a great guy, by the way, but hey, I do him a solid. He owes me a solid. And I said that I'll send in my team to make sure to take out all these fucking separatists and also to steal the launch codes back, and so we won't unleash nuclear fucking Armageddon. Again, chat, they are now here. Like Mr. Nobody says, we are at the point where we're trying to stop World War III, okay? These are the same people, chat, in this series that originally stole DVD combination VHS players and Panasonic TVs. I just want to let you know. It's like, it's fucking nuts. And they're like, all right, let's go to Russia to stop World War III. And so they all show up there, chat. They all in their little vehicles. Like, everyone has like a utilitarian vehicle, like meant for the snow and the ice and shit. But you see that Roman has gotten himself a bright orange Lamborghini. Also, Scott Eastwood said, I learned my lesson. I learned that rule number 3 is there are no rules. And Kurt Russell says, yes, nothing matters. It doesn't, who cares? We're all getting paid to be this and do this. Isn't it great? Scott Eastwood's like, yeah, I can't wait to be a part of this franchise. But yeah, Scott Eastwood's like, I'm a member of the family now. No, you fucking ain't, Busta. But anyway, they cut. And they're in Russia, and they're observing the base, and it's like, that has a lot of fucking firepower on it. It's got like a lot of Soviet-era weapons. Like, that's going to be one tough nut to crack, baby. All right? Roman Pierce is describing his scrotum and little peen, chat. His peen has gone back inside of his body because it's too cold. And as we all know, chat, Roman Pierce does not do cold. He's not built this way. His as he says, my Blackman body is not built for this weather. It's like, fair enough, man, fair enough. We still got to accomplish this fucking mission. But they notice, chat, little off the ways, they see, damn, he's in a souped-up muscle car, chat, complete with new EMP device implanted inside of it. And Cypher's like, go attack that fucking base and bring me my nuclear weapons. And he's like, no problem. And he starts driving in there, chat, and all these Russian terrorists or whatever, I don't know what they are, separatists, I have no idea, but they're bad guys, the bad guys, chat. They all see Dom coming and are like, raise the fucking gates, get the weapons already at the, at our beck and call. Little do they know, chat, that Dom, he has an EMP device, and he presses the button on that shit, wow, shuts down all of their electronics, chat. They can't use the computers. They can't keep the bridges and the walls up, and so they all shut down, and he drives in there. But they still have, like, tanks and shit, so they're all firing at Dom, trying to get him. But Dom, he's been told by Sever to go directly under the submarine to act, because apparently, I don't know how this works. If he uses the EMP device underneath the submarine, it won't shut it down. It'll activate it. Huh? it'll just turn back on. Okay. And so he hits the EMP device, shuts off all the other electronics that were still working, but then activates the nuclear submarine, chat. Sure. And at this point, they activate the nuclear submarine, and then Cypher is then able to hack into the nuclear submarine, chat. She takes control of it because it has electricity. I don't know. It's the MacGuffin. Yep, there it is, chat, the MacGuffin. And then the family's like, shit, we got to get over there and make sure it doesn't take these fucking nuclear missiles. Because Cypher at this point is like, okay, we're going to set one of those boys off. I want to start World War III right now. And they're like, okay. And so they got this one missile about to launch like in 3 minutes. Dom, meanwhile, he's going through the entire facility, chat, trying to escape from all these Soviet guys, all these Russian terrorists or whatever, and he's blowing them up with his car and shit, and doing the typical Dom thing. The rest of the team gets there. Tej, Scott Eastwood, and Roman Pierce, they go inside the sub, while Letty and Ramsey, they tried to stop the hacking of Cypher and Co. And so they go up into like the crow's nest area, the command center of the base. Ramsey, she starts hacking, but then Letty has to fight off these two like Russian guys. One guy she beats easily, but there's other guys like big burly Russian man. And you know, she's like getting her ass kicked. She's like, Ramsey, are we almost done here? And she's like, almost done. And she's getting her ass thrown around there, but this is kind of cool. This is a pretty cool scene. Very reminiscent, chat, of the great scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indiana Jones sees that Nazi get torn up by the plane blade when the propeller. He's like, kind of similar situation here, chat, except it's with a submarine propeller where they get thrown outside. And, you know, Cypher has activated the submarine because he wants it in the water eventually, I guess, even though it's on land. But she just uses her Letty muscle. She goes, nah! And she tosses the big Russian guy over her head. He goes, oh! And he gets torn apart by the submarine propeller. Goes, and she's just covered in Russian blood, viscera, and guts. And The Rock eventually walks up to her because he just observed this fight and decided not to help her and goes, damn, girl, that nasty. And it kind of is nasty, chat. Because you think of the latest. Yeah, this is where the movie starts, whole sequences from down. It really is, yeah. Except they didn't have a fucking satellite dish that fires a giant heat beam or a laser weapon at them. But it's damn near close. It's damn near close at this point. After this, chat, we then cut to the submarine. Cypher's trying to keep all of them like in contained so they don't fuck up everything. But she separates Tej from Roman. This is where we get a really funny scene here between Scott Eastwood and Roman. Not really Scott Eastwood, but where they're trying to look for the kill switch, basically. And looking all around, they start pulling shit out, and it starts like, wee, woo, wee, woo. And Ted's like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know, man. I don't understand what I'm doing. And he puts it back in, and he sees what he thinks is the kill switch, and he starts like saying, oh, it's ha-ka-ko-ka, hick, hamashikapa. Is that kill for Russian? It's actually really funny. Tyrese has, that's kind of incredible that Tyrese Gibson has to carry Scott Eastwood through this sequence. It's kind of like, wow. And even the other scenes, I will say, Tyrese Gibson gets a few good scenes in this entire end portion of the movie, this third act, chat. Especially later on when they're racing across the ice. They do some fun. It's dumb, but it works for Tyrese. This is when Tyrese is going, oh no! He's always screaming and shit. We get a lot of Tyrese Gibson screams, chat. Like Basement Tyrese is on full fucking display, chat. It's pretty funny. But, you know, eventually they get the kill switch and they stop the, what's his name? Roman, he pulls it out and it's like, oh, they stopped it. But then at this point, Cyber's like, fuck that. I don't give a shit. We're going to put the submarine into the water. Now, at the same time, there's some crazy shit going on. Because once the submarine goes in the water, if I'm like, okay, we have to somehow follow the submarine, but also keep all the Russian guys off of us at the same time. And so they go out chasing the submarine. All these other Russian guys chase after him. Dom, he's stopped and he's pulled off on this cliffside where he meets up with Tormund Giantsbane, who goes into the what the fuck is it? His car. And, you know, Cypher's like, okay, listen, at this point, his team is getting involved. Fucking kill every single one of them. Tormund Giantsbane's like, oh, it's your choice, Dom. I'll let you pick who you like least. I'll start with them. And he just gives this look at Tormund Giantsbane. You're not going to hurt any member of my family. He's like, okay, the wife then. And so he gets out, chat, and he situates his sniper rifle on the top of his car and starts aiming at the family. Meanwhile, chat, Dom, he's looking at his smartwatch. And we cut to outside of Cypher's plane, chat, where we see Iron Man. We basically see two people in like what looks to be a vulture suit from Spider-Man Homecoming, chat. Two people wearing vulture suits, like Michael Keaton's vulture suit. And they're flying towards Cypher's plane. Okay? They have these little switches which they then press and opens the cargo bay, and Cypher's people are like, someone's opening the cargo bay door. She's like, who the fuck is this? And these two people jump inside the plane and they close the cargo bay behind them. This one guy in the lead takes off his helmet and it's fucking Deckard Shaw. He's not dead. He's like, we're in. And it's like, wait, what? And then he looks behind him, and who's the other guy, chat? Owen Shaw, chat, Luke Evans. And it's like, what the hell's going on? What's happening? And it's like they infiltrated the fucking plane, chat. They've boarded the plane. And then fucking Vin Diesel's like, that's the only thing I needed to know. Because then he revs up the car, which makes his Torment Giantsbane miss his shot trying to kill Letty and Ramsey. And then Dom just gets out of the car and just chokes the shit out of Torment Giantsbane. Just like, he's like, and then snaps his fucking neck, which is he's kind of wasting the movie, chat. I would like to have seen more of Torment Giantsbane. I think he would make a cool henchman, but they don't do anything with him. And at this point, Cyber's like, the fuck you doing, Dom? He's like, I just killed your boyfriend. Also, you made an enemy of me as soon as you fucking talked to me in Cuba. And then we get a flashback, chat. We get a flashback to Helen Mirren, where Dominic Toretto tells her, like, listen, I know somehow where your son, Owen Shaw, is being kept, okay? I can get you for him. Help me, family bro. She's like, family bro. Family bro. He's like, family bro. We then cut to Deckard Shaw hours ago, where he was shot by Dom and he's being loaded inside of an ambulance, chat. He's put in there. The two ambulance drivers are the Santos brothers, chat, from Fast and Furious and Fast 5. They're in the movie for some reason. They're like, hey, we're back. That's it. They just picked him up. We also see earlier on when Dom went to go talk to Helen Mirren that the pedophile van that blocked him, that made sure he was out of view, was driven by the Cuban gangster in the beginning of the movie, chat, where he said, you have my respect. Apparently that's what it was. It's like, okay, I needed my help because I am being blackmailed by a psychotic megalomaniac scarecrow woman. And he's like, I got you, bro. I got you. It's like, whoa. And here's the kicker, chat. The cross, Dom has somehow placed a tracking device on the silver cross, which also has hacking abilities and allowed Deckard and Owen Shaw to infiltrate the plane. Gave them control of the plane systems. Also, we get a scene of when Helen Mirren is talking to Deckard. That's actually quite good, where she's like, Dominic Toretto set this whole thing up. I need you to do him a favor, though. He's like, I don't want to do that. He's like, you have to. It's for family. I want you to go and get his baby boy and wife, because the wife was still alive at this point. And he's like, okay. But she's like, I want you to take your brother with you. And then for whatever reason, Deckard Shaw's like, my brother is dead to me. He's been corrupted. It's like, but you sought vengeance. It doesn't make any sense. You sought vengeance against Dominic Toretto and the family because they almost killed your brother. And now he's like, my brother's dead to me. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, it's like he's a lost cause. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You were literally going to hell and back for your brother in the last movie. And I think that's the big thing. It's like, listen, Fast and Furious is a lot of dumb shit. There's just so many retcons and contradictions and just weird things, like, so just that one after the other's like, I can't take it. It's too much. It's just too much. He's a lost cause. And then Helen Mirren's like, oh, you making your mother cry? He's your brother. You should love him. And she's like, all right, I'll tell you. And she's like, oh, she fake. She's like, God damn it, every time. She's like, just help your brother. Help Dominic Toretto. He's a good boy. He's like, all right. And so they board the plane, and Deckard Shaw says, okay, listen, you go and do pretty much nothing for this scene, because this is my action scene. This is a glorified cameo for you. You get no action, Owen Shaw, Luke Evans. You go to the front of the plane, keep telling them to fucking fly it and when to land it, while I will get a cool action scene. And so then he goes into the room where they were keeping little Dom Jr., little Marcus, grabs the kid, puts him into a baby carrier or whatever the fuck it's called, and this is funny. Puts his microphones. He's like, you're going to hear some Nazi things, okay, kiddo? And he's like, ah. And he puts it on there, and what he's listening to the entire time while he fights is Alvin the Chipmunk's Christmas Time, which is pretty fucking funny. And so we get this really well choreographed scene where, but again, it's just like, this guy is the same guy that killed Han, but okay, who gives a shit? And he starts firing the plane. By the way, you are firing a gun inside of an airplane, very fucking dangerous. You could depressurize it. You can all get sucked out. Very dangerous, but apparently he does not miss. And so he goes around and he starts shooting all these jabronis, chat. And we get this one scene where it is so fucking, it's honestly one of the weirdest most off-putting scenes in the movie. And I want to know if you guys notice this. Because when he's done killing some guys, he says, "How you doing, kid? Liking the music?" And the baby raises its arm, and it's this weird CGI, like, elongated baby arm. Did you guys see that shit? It's like, what the fuck was that? Like, all the CGI in this movie looks good. It's fun. Well, some of it looks, some of the zombie car attack was kind of, it's like, okay, you need some rendering here. But he has this weird, weird CGI elongated child arm. I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's so off-putting. Because I still think it would suck, but if you had to kill Elena off, or use your cop skills and have her go down shooting. Yes, she's gotten the playing with Shaw, protecting her kid. That would give her something to do, and it wouldn't be such a lame way. Exactly, yeah. She's just a victim. That's all she is. And it's like, that kind of sucks. I mean, she's a badass. She is a cop. She works in Brazil. She fought fucking drug cartels and criminals and gangsters and shit. She fought the family at one point. Yeah, that would have been much better. They even Cypher's like, "I'm sure you're thinking right now that you and Neves, I mean, she is training, that you can take us all out right now, and maybe you could, but who's gonna fucking land the plane, Dom?" And it's like all that shit. So it's like, oh, you kind of describing a better scene, Cypher. While this is all going on, chat, you know, Deckard Shaw, he's making his way through the plane. And at one point, he makes a man poop himself. He literally beats a man so bad that he poops himself. And he's like, "Kid, is that you?" He goes, "Nah, it's him." And they continue on. Eventually, I don't know. Okay, this is weird to me. So Cypher, like, has her whole team up there. Like, Maddie, you're up. And I don't know what happens to her team. Does she kill them all? Because at this point, Deckard Shaw, he goes to the front of the plane, her little, like, hacking, you know, emporium area. And it's just her. And she says, "Deckard Shaw." And he's like, "You corrupted my brother, and you're trying to steal kids. That's really shitty." It's like, you killed an innocent man in Tokyo. And he's like, "It doesn't matter. Nothing matters." And she's like, "Well, you know what I know, Deckard?" And he goes, "What?" "I have the only parachute." And then she opens the plane door, and she jumps out, and she activates the parachute, and she escapes. But again, I don't know. She had an entire team with her who were not soldiers, who were not, like, you know, mercenaries that were security. No, that were her hacking team, and they just vanish. And so I guess Matt Loves, yeah, I think he killed her whole team. Did he shoot him? Because I didn't see that. I didn't, unless she just said, like, "Oh, defend me" or something. She sent him out there. Like, I thought it would have been, I don't know. I don't know if she killed them. I don't know if they just, oh yeah, she has other people on board. I guess they're dead. But it doesn't matter. Maybe I don't know. It doesn't matter. And so Deckard contacts Owen and says, "You can land the plane." He's like, "All right, let's land the plane. I wish I could have been in a cool action scene, but nope." And so they land this scene. Meanwhile, chat, we cut back to Russia, where the team is still chasing after the submarine because they got to stop it because it's going under or whatever bullshit. I mean, some of the scenes are out of order. It doesn't fucking matter. But they're chasing after this fucking submarine. Meanwhile, all these Russian separatists are shooting at them at one point because Roman is riding in a car that is not made for ice. He's slipping and sliding, almost goes underwater, and Tej uses his harpoon gun to hit Roman's car so he can drag him. But then Roman's car is filled up with ice. He's always like, "My penis, it's disappearing." His penis is literally disappearing. It's going inside me. "Tej, my penis." And eventually there's like, fucking Roman just grabbed the door. He's like, "Okay." And all of the Tyrese Gibson said, "No." It's very funny. "Grab your door, Roman." Roman grabs the door, and he's literally sliding on the door on ice, being dragged by Tej as all these Russian military guys are shooting at him and stuff. At one point, though, he disconnects from it, and he has to use the door to stop all these snowmobile guys from shooting him. But it's okay, though, because Roman's like, "I'm going to be a badass." And again, Roman actually does a lot of cool stuff in this, where he uses, it's dumb, but he uses the door, and he hits the first snowmobile guy, grabs the gun in midair, and boom, 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 shoots the 3 other guys in the snowmobile. Take that, number 11. I should be top 10, baby. And it's like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, chat, The Rock, he drives by, and he picks up Roman and puts him in there. Dom then comes in, chat, because he's dealt with Torment Giant's pain, and he's helping the family trying to get the sub and shit. Doesn't matter. But then the sub, like, stops a little bit and comes up behind them, chat. So now the submarine it takes out all the Russian guys and is now chasing them. And it also fires off 2 missiles, chat. And they're like, oh shit, 2 torpedoes. And The Rock's like, okay, the only way we could destroy the torpedoes is if I just kind of lean out the car and just punch them. And Roman's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I need to punch the torpedoes. And so he's like, drive, Roman. And so the Rock is literally holding onto the door and go, "Ah!" and like moves the torpedoes out of the way, chat, for the family, and they blow up. And eventually, though, one of the torpedoes or something happens where what is this? Yeah, oh yeah, the fucking sub. So the sub, it emerges and one of the torpedoes hits it for some reason. And it's like, oh shit, but we gotta stop it. We gotta stop the fucking sub. And so Dom has to do something. I think he has to unleash the EMP. I don't fucking know. At this point, I literally don't know what's happening, shit. I've come to that point in the franchise, like, I don't actually know what's happening. I just know that Dom has to save the day. Dom does this thing where he jumps over the submarine, activates something, starts blowing everything up. His car is on fire. He jumps out of it. Now it's a nuclear submarine, chat, and it starts to explode. It goes boom, boom, boom. And so nuclear fucking hellfire is coming straight at Dom, and Dom goes, ugh. But it's okay, because the family, chat, The Rock, Tej, Letty, and Scott Eastwood, he's there too. They all surround Dom with their cars, chat, and the nuclear hellfire just passes over him, chat, and he's fine. He's fine. And it's like, woo! And then they reunite with Dom, and everyone's like, Letty's like, I knew you were a good guy, Dom. I love you, Dom. He's like, I love you, Letty. He's like, I got a lot to tell you. She's like, goddamn right you do. And they start smooching, and Roman's asks, like, hey, the nuclear submarine exploded. This is like, we're all gonna die. There's like nuclear, he calls it nuclearization, right? There's nuclearization all around us. And Tej's like, oh, don't worry about it. Because the type of explosion, all of the nuclear devices are inert and are not dangerous. Okay. And everyone's like, yay, so let's leave. And so then we cut to New York City, chat, because as you know, the Toretto domicile, the abode, was destroyed by Deckard Shaw in Furious 7. It exploded when he tried to murder Dominic Toretto, Mia, Brian O'Connor, and Jack. But he's a good guy, though. And they're in New York, and Dom, like, they're having a barbecue and everything, chat. Mr. Nobody and Little Nobody, they show up, and The Rock is there, and they've given him a present to The Rock, and it's his badge, and his record's been clean, and he wants Mr. Nobody's like, I want you to come and work for me. And The Rock's little girl's there, she's like, no, and I want to play soccer. He's like, my daughter wants to play soccer, Mr. Nobody, I'm sorry, but I can't do it. And he's like, damn it, well, I'll see you in the spinoff probably. He's like, sure. He's like, hey, can I stay for the barbecue? He's like, of course you can, man. You're bro family. I'm bro family? Yes, you are, Kurt Russell. He's like, yeah. And so they hug and shit. And Kurt Russell starts just eating barbecue chicken, and Scott Eastwood, he's there too. We then cut to Tej and Roman, who are basically explain to Ramsey why you should sleep with us. Like, don't sleep with him, sleep with me. I'm much better because of this. I'm a hacker. I'm sexy. And she goes, okay, being a lustful object and all is great, but do any of you actually know my last name? And they're like, and he's like, when you figure that out, then I'll sleep with you. And they're like, fuck, well, he's going to be Tej Parker. Tej does something fucking cool. Well, Parker will be Mrs. Parker eventually. Mrs. Parker. It was pretty goddamn good. And Tyrese is like, damn it, that's a good joke. That's a good joke, Ludacris. We then cut to Dom and Letty, and they're looking out on the New York City skyline, and Dom's like, Dom, nervous. And she's like, Dom, don't be nervous. It's okay. We'll see him, and I will love him like my own. I will let him suckle on my breast, Dom. And then who fucking walks in, chat? Deckard Shaw. He's like, hey, it's your son. He's like, thank you, Deckard. You're bro family now. He's like, am I? I fucking killed your friend. I tried to kill you. Are you sure? And he's like, bro. He's like, all right. And he's at the, no, actually, I'll say this, Jeff. I'll say this. Deckard Shaw is not a member of the family. He is not invited to the barbecue. I think because he killed Han, they're like, yeah, man, that's one thing we can't forgive. So you do not see him at the table eating barbecue. Kurt Russell is there. Scott Eastwood is there. But not Deckard Shaw's like, okay, well, at least they didn't do that. Thank God. And so he leaves after he drops off the kid, because he's going to be doing a spinoff franchise with The Rock. And then everyone gathers around the table, And they're all fucking, oh yeah, Dom's like, here's your new mom, Letty. And she's like, hello, little Dom Jr. And he's suckling and stuff. And then eventually he's at the table. He's like, I'm going to say grace. And they say grace. And I also want to introduce everyone to the newest member of the family. The family keeps getting a little bigger. Say hello to Brian. And it's like, it's like, a tip of the hat, Chad. It's a nod to Brian O'Connor, of course, Dom's brother, Paul Walker. And so we got little Brian Toretto, chat. Brian Marcus Toretto. It's been a long way. And we get the whole fucking song, chat, as we cut out. And that, my friends, is Fate of the Furious, chat. Fast and Furious 8, chat. The 8th film in this franchise. Honestly, it's not a bad movie. It's not awful. It just has a lot of pacing issues. I'm gonna say it has leaps in logic. I know, like, logic don't apply logic to this franchise, but there's so much just weird shit at the last end of the movie. Like, just like, okay, it's evolving and all these things and the retconning. It's like, you're retconning. Like, listen, this franchise retcons a lot. Fury 7 retcons a lot. Fast and Furious retcons a lot. There's no doubt. But this one does so much of it, and it's not that they do it. Like, what helped about those other movies is that at least, I don't know, it felt like it wasn't so much all at once. And like the Letty thing's always going to be ridiculous, no doubt about it. But like the retconning, like with Tokyo Drift, I think is kind of fun. I was like, oh, you made this work. I thought that was kind of funny. And it was just like one big thing. But this movie does it so many times. It's like, okay, this is just too much. It's like, okay, I'm filled up. Stop eating me. Stop feeding me. It's like, please. And it doesn't earn it. Like, it doesn't earn all of these retcons. And the whole attempt at making Deckard Shaw a good guy, like, oh, he was just done dirty. It's like, he fucking murdered innocent people. He killed Han. He did all these things. He tried to assassinate all the members of the family. And it's just like, whatever. It's like, Like, I like that. Deckard Shaw as a character is great, but what they try to do with him in there, they don't earn it. Like, I love what they do with him and Hobbs and Shaw. It's very fun, the two of them doing their thing. I can't wait to review that movie, Chad. I'm interested to see where I would rank it. But this one, I don't know. It's not paced well, and you know what's going to happen with the whole Dom betrayed the family. It's like, we know he didn't really betray the family. So it's just like, it's kind of spinning our wheels, honestly, Chad. And it just feels, and critics are right. I'll say, well, the one common criticism I think fans and critics said is that it just felt a little tired after a while. It's just like, yeah, I know, you got all the action, submarine, all that stuff. That's cool. But it just doesn't reach the same heights, certainly as Fury 7, which had such an emotional just climax for people in regards to Paul Walker's character. And just like, it just felt so good. You feel emotion. You cried. Like, I got teary-eyed at the end of that movie many times. Fast and Furious 6, I think, is just better. Fast 5 is better. Fast and Furious is better. The Fast and the Furious, I think, is better. Like, this one is just it's one of those odd late entries that, yeah, just feels like it's treading water and doesn't really do anything that new or that innovative or even that interesting, personally. And so, and kind of, does a couple characters dirty or just does things that aren't earned with their characters. So, yeah, Chad, I think overall, like, what I would give this movie, I don't know. I think it's better than Tokyo Drift. So I don't know if I give it like a very low matinee. Maybe a very low matinee, but maybe a high rental. I don't know. I'm very conflicted about that, chat. This is better than Tokyo Drift. I will say that. It's like the lowest of the. It's watchable. It's still watchable though. I'll give it. It's a very low matinee. It's a low matinee for me, chat. So on the double toasted scale. So if I were to rank the the Fast and Furious movies as of right now, chat, Furious 7 still number 1, high number 1. Love that movie. Fast and Furious 6. Fast 5, The Fast and the Furious, Fast and Furious 4, Fast and Furious, Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious 8, The Fast and the Furious, have you ever said that, chat, Tokyo Drift, and 2 Fast and 2 Furious at Lat Draft. So that's what I would give it, chat. I would give it that. It's the third worst movie in the franchise, I think. But I'm hoping for F9. I'm hoping, I'm interested. I'm gonna rank Hobbs and Shaw, chat. I haven't seen it since it was first released. Remember liking it a lot. And we'll see where F9 ranks, chat. But I'm only one movie away from concluding my review series, chat. My Fast and Furious saga review series, my review saga for this franchise, chat. Tomorrow we'll finish it up, but that is Fate of the Furious. Follow your heart, bro. My guy. Draft. I'll give you either rental or a low man. Yeah, so we're kind of on the same page. Drift King, a.k.a. Donkey Kong. And thank you again, guys, for all of your support throughout this review. Apologies if I missed some bitty donations. Just when I get on a roll, chat, sometimes I'm like, oh, I got to keep going. But thank you, everyone who is donating. Thank you again to Chris Ayers, to DT Darkslayer, Mordecai. Thank you so much, guys. It's one of the lesser ones. Yeah, it's one of the lesser ones. Not awful. Watchable, but not one I'm like, I don't feel the need to like rewatch this ever again. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Maybe moments, but never again. This might be the only other time I'll ever watch this. Oh, my green screen all messed up. Green screen. There you go, Chad. There you go. But now, my friends, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. I need to refreshen my beverage. So, Chad, please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I shall return, and we will then play some Mass Effect 2. So, chat, stick around, you crazy kids. I'll be right back.